Ram 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 Sarvebhyah Hritpurvaka Namaskaraha. Swagatam. Welcome to the 29th session of Learn to Chant Shivanandalahari along with its meaning. So we have completed 45 verses in the previous class. So let us try to complete the next 2 or 3 verses today. We will, as usual, begin with Guru Vandanam. Sarve Guru Vandanam Kripaya Vadantu iti Prarthaye. गुरुरेव गतिर्गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोः मतिरस्ति गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् सौन्दर्यलहरी कर्त्रे सर्वमङ्गलदायिने शङ्कराचार्यवर्याय यतिराजाय ते नमः शङ्कारूपेण मच्चित्तं पङ्कीकृतमभूद्यया किङ्करीयस्य सा माया शङ्कराचार्यमाश्रये प्रह्लादवरदो देवो यो नृसिंहः परो हरिः नृसिंहोपासकं नित्यं तं नृसिंहगुरुं भजे श्रीसच्चिदानन्द शिवाभिनव्य नृसिंह भारत्यभिधान्यतीन्द्रान् विद्यानिधीन् मन्त्रनिधीन् सदात्मनिष्ठान् भजे मानव शम्भुरूपान् सदात्मध्याननिरतं विषयेभ्यः पराङ्मुखं नौमि शास्त्रेषु निष्णातं चन्द्रशेखर भारतीं विवेकिनं महाप्रज्ञं धैर्यौदार्यक्षमानिधिं सदाभिनवपूर्वन्तं विद्यातीर्थगुरुं भजे भारती करुणापात्रं भारती पदभूषणं भारती पदमारूढं भारती तीर्थमाश्रये भारती तीर्थवर्यन्तं भक्तहृत्तापनाशनं भवभीतिहरं देवं भावये सततं हृदि विद्या विनय संपन्नौ वीतरागौ विवेकिनं वन्दे वेदान्त तत्त्वज्ञौ विधुशेखर भारतीम् अनन्त गुण संपन्नामनन्ताभिधयाश्रुताम् अनन्त ज्ञानदात्रीं तां मातरं प्रणुमो वयम् गैर्वाण्या संविबोधेन जीवनं मौल्यसंयुतं या करोत्तान्नमाम्यम्बां शारदामूर्तरूपिणीम् कलाभ्यां चूडालङ्कृतशशिकलाभ्यां निजतपः फलाभ्यां भक्तेषु प्रकटितफलाभ्यां भवतु मे शिवाभ्यामस्तोकत्रिभुवन शिवाभ्यां हृदि पुनर्भवाभ्याम् आनन्दस्फुरदनुभवाभ्यां नतिर्यम्. So now in today's class, we will see how again the mind is referred to, and we continue this beautiful journey in both bhakti and the literary beauty of the verses. So let us begin, Shriya. 46th verse. Akirne. Shriya, please unmute. Oh, Shriya is not promoted to a panelist. Okay. So I sent you an invite sometime back, Priya, to promote to panelist. Can you accept it?
Yes.
Okay. I hope now you can repeat, Shriya. आकीर्णेन खराजिकान्तिविभवैः
आकीर्णेन खराजिकान्तिविभवैः आकीर्णेन खराजिकान्तिविभवैः
उद्यत्सुधा वैभवैः
उद्यत्सुधा वैभवैः उद्यत्सुधा वैभवैः
आधौ तेऽपि च पद्मरागललिते
आधौ तेऽपि च पद्मरागललिते आधौ तेऽपि च पद्मरागललिते
हंसव्रजैराश्रिते
हंसव्रजेराश्रिते हंसव्रजेराश्रिते
नित्यं भक्तिवधूगणैश्च रहसि
नित्यं भक्तिवधूगणैश्च रहसि नित्यं भक्तिवधूगणैश्च रहसि
स्वेच्छाविहारं कुरु
स्वेच्छाविहारं कुरु स्वेच्छाविहारं कुरु
स्थित्वा मानसराजहंस
स्थित्वा मानसराजहंस स्थित्वा मानसराजहंस
गिरिजानाथाङ्घ्रिसौधान्तरे
गिरिजानाथाङ्घ्रिसौधान्तरे गिरिजानाथाङ्घ्रिसौधान्तरे
उत्तमम् आकीर्णे नखराजिकान्तिविभवैः नोट द महाप्राणास् ख and bha उद्यत्सुधा वैभवैः ध and bha आधौ तेपि dhau is mahaprana. Here we all are familiar now. Adhau tepi, it is a sandhi called purva rupa sandhi. This S like symbol is an avagraha chinha denoting the sandhi. However, we don't split and there is no special pronunciation for that symbol. So we just read as adhau tepi. च पद्मरागललिते हंसव्रजैराश्रिते नित्यं भक्तिवधूगणैश्च भ and dhu are mahapranas rahasi स्वेच्छा विहारं कुरु स्वेच्छा. The second cha is mahaprana here. There are two chas. First is an alpa prana, second is mahaprana. Viharam plus kuru. When you combine, it becomes viharang kuru. And we should note not to prolong this too much. It is not kuru, it is kuru. Sthitva, thi is mahaprana. Manasa rajahamsa. Girijanathangri saudhantare. Natha mahaprana. Angri, gha is mahaprana. Saudhantare, dha is mahaprana. Okay, now let us do one pada at a time. In the fourth pada, we don't pause because there is no scope to pause there at the yati. It is one compound word, Girijanathangri Saudhantare. So we chant it as one word without pausing. आकीर्णेन खराजिकान्तिविभवैः उद्यत्सुधा वैभवैः
आकीर्णेन खराजिकान्तिविभवैः उद्यत्सुधा वैभवैः आकीर्णेन खराजिकान्तिविभवैः उद्यत्सुधा वैभवैः
आढौ तेऽपि च पद्मरागललिते हंसव्रजैराश्रिते
आधौ तेऽपि च पद्मरागललिते व्रजैराश्रिते आधौ तेऽपि च पद्मरागललिते हंसव्रजैराश्रिते
नित्यं भक्तिवधूगणैश्चरहसि स्वेच्छाविहारं कुरु
नित्यं भक्तिवधूगणैश्च रहसि स्वेच्छाविहारं कुरु नित्यं भक्तिवधूगणैश्च रहसि स्वेच्छाविहारं कुरु
सराजहंस गिरिजानाथाङ्घ्रिसौधान्तरे
स्थित्वा मानसराजहंसगिरिजानाथाङ्घ्रिसौधान्तरे स्थित्वा मानसराजहंसगिरिजानाथाङ्घ्रिसौधान्तरे
Now we'll do half a verse. आकीर्णेन खराजिकान्तिविभवैः उद्यत्सुधा वैभवैः आधौ तेऽपि च पद्मरागललिते हंसव्रजैराश्रिते
आकीर्णेन खराजिकान्तिविभवैः उद्यत्सुधा वैभवैः आधौ तेऽपि च पद्मरागललिते हंसव्रजैराश्रिते आकीर्णेन खराजिकान्तिविभवैः उद्यत्सुधा वैभवैः आधौ तेऽपि च पद्मरागललिते हंसव्रजैराश्रिते
नित्यं भक्तिवधूगणैश्चरहसि स्वेच्छाविहारं कुरु स्थित्वा मानसराजहंसगिरिजानाथाङ्घ्रिसौधान्तरे
नित्यं भक्तिवधूगणैश्च रहसि स्वेच्छाविहारं कुरु स्थित्वा मानसराजहंसगिरिजानाथाङ्घ्रिसौधान्तरे नित्यं भक्तिवधूगणैश्च रहसि स्वेच्छाविहारं कुरु स्थित्वा मानसराजहंसगिरिजानाथाङ्घ्रिसौधान्तरे
Uttamam. Now the entire verse. Kakirnyen kharajikanti vibhavaihi udyat sudha vaibhavaihi adhau tepi cha padmaragalalite hamsavrajairashrite नित्यं भक्तिवधूगणैश्चरहसि स्वेच्छाविहारं कुरु स्थित्वा मानसराजहंसगिरिजानाथाङ्घ्रिसौधान्तरे
आकीर्णेन खराजिकान्तिविभवैः उद्यत्सुधा वैभवैः आधौ तेऽपि च पद्मरागललिते हंसव्रजैराश्रिते नित्यं भक्तिवधूगणैश्च रहसि स्वेच्छाविहारं कुरु स्थित्वा मानसराजहंसगिरिजानाथाङ्घ्रिसौधान्तरे आकीर्णेन खराजिकान्तिविभवैः उद्यत्सुधा वैभवैः आधौ तेऽपि च पद्मरागललिते हंसव्रजैराश्रिते नित्यं भक्तिवधूगणैश्च रहसि स्वेच्छाविहारं कुरु स्थित्वा मानसराजहंसगिरिजानाथाङ्घ्रिसौधान्तरे.
Uttama. So, in this verse, as all of you might have guessed already by chanting the verse, the mind is very beautifully addressed as Manasa Raja Hamsa. Hamsa is swan. Now, there is a lot of significance to Hamsa in our spirituality in Sanatana Dharma, and we all might be aware of it also. Now, the mind is referred to as not a mere swan, but a Raja Hamsa, a royal swan. Now, where will a royal swan reside? It will reside in a beautiful palatial building, right? In a palace. Now, what is that palace? Saudha means palace. That palace is nothing but Girijanathangri Saudhantare. He Manasa Rajahamsa, O mind the royal swan, you reside in the palace called Girijanathangri. That is Girijanatha, the consort or the lord of Girija or Parvati, that is Parameshwara. Angri means the feet. So the lotus feet of Parameshwara, that itself, the lotus feet represent that royal palace where the mind is residing as a Rajahamsa, as a royal swan. Rather, Shankaracharya is inviting the mind as a royal swan to reside in that particular palace of the feet of Parameshwara. Now let us go through the prose order. Manasa Rajahamsa Nakaraji Kanti Vibhavaihi Akirne Udyat Sudha Vaibhavaihi Adhau Tepicha Padma Raga Lalite Hamsa Vrajaihi Ashrite Girijanathangri Saudhantare Sthitva Rahasi Bhakti Vadhu Ganeshcha Nityam Swecha Viharam Kuru. A very beautiful description again. So, O mind, O royal swan, now, Akirne Nakaraji Kanti Vibhavaihi Udyat Sudha Vaibhavaihi. Akirne means pervaded. It is pervaded by what? Nakha. Nakha means nails. Raji Kanti Vibhavaihi. So here it refers to the toenails because the description is of Parameshwara's feet, which represent the palace in which the Manasa Rajahamsa has to reside. Therefore, this palace, it is filled with the brilliance, which is abundantly emitted. The abundant brilliance emitted by what? Nakha Raji, that is the rows of toenails of Parameshwara, are emitting this brilliance in abundance, which is filling this palace. And Udyata Sudha Vaibhavaihi. Sudha, as you know, is it's a synonym for moon's radiance. So everywhere, radiance like that of the moon is spreading everywhere in this particular palace. Then Adhaute Apicha Padma Raga Lalite. Also, what else do we find in this palace? There is Dhauta means white. Adhauta means surrounded by that brilliance, white brilliance, or surrounded by that pure light all around. Adhaute picha Padma Raga Lalite. Now, Padma Raga refers to the gem which has a pinkish red hue like that of a lotus. So we could say it's akin to a ruby, which has that beautiful pinkish hue like that of a lotus. So Padma Raga Lalite. So that refers to a gem like the ruby, beautiful reddish pink color of the ruby. So that also is spread everywhere in this particular palace. Hamsa Vrajaihi Ashrite. Now, Hamsa here refers to a swan, like we all know. Now, Hamsa Braja refers to groups of Hamsas. Here, this particular verse, you have multiple layers of meaning. You can understand the very way Shankaracharya has addressed the mind as Raja Hamsa. Now here he says Hamsa Brajaihi Ashrite. Now groups, one way you can take it as groups of Hamsas are residing in this particular palace. So what is this palace? The feet of Parameshwara. Now we know that in Sanatana Dharma, the highest state of spiritual evolution. So the ones who attain that highest state of spiritual evolution, they are given the title of Paramahamsa, the ultimate Hamsas. So they are like like we know our Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. So like that, we have many yogis. That is a particular state. Now there are many Hamsas, Paramahamsas, who have attained that state and who are residing in that particular palace called Parameshwara's feet. So, oh mind, you also go and reside there along with those Hamsas. Now, Hamsa it's a word which represents purity and that power of discrimination. So they say Hamsa Kshira Nyaya, right? So when a mixture of milk and water is given, the Hamsa has the power to only drink the milk and separate the water. So these Paramahamsas also, even though they might be living amidst us, they are there in this Laukika world, like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and others who were there, many yogis like who are there in this world, Sadashiva Brahmendra, many of our acharyas, they are already in that supreme state. They have attained that state of Shivanandam, Brahmanandam, Brahmajnana. But they are living amidst us also. And they know to discriminate between this Laukika and Paramarthika, that state where they have attained that Brahmajnana and the worldly things. So this Hamsa is a very great bird and it has a lot of spiritual significance. So those who are interested can read up on Paramahamsa and Hamsa and its significance in the spiritual evolution. And also another very interesting thing about Hamsa is the word here, Hamsa Brajair Ashrite, like I said, one meaning is that there are many Hamsas who are already Paramahamsas who have attained that state and who are living in that palace called Parameshwara's feet, meaning they've attained Brahmanandam, Shivanandam, and they're residing in that palace. Also, Hamsa Brajairashrite means groups of those meditating always on the Hamsa mantra. Again, the groups of yogis who are always meditating on that Hamsa mantra. Now, what is that Hamsa mantra? That is something which our scriptures tell us. When you breathe, when you inhale, see, from the time we are born, we are breathing. And it is an involuntary action without even the baby, just at the time of birth, till the last breath, we go on breathing, right? So involuntarily, when we inhale, there is a sound which is produced, a subtle sound called so, and we exhale, it is called hum. So that subtle sound, so constantly we are breathing this mantra. Even when we are unaware of it, it is happening among all of us. So we inhale as so hum, so hum, so hum, so hum. So inhale is so, exhale is hum. So when we go on inhaling, exhaling, so hum, so it becomes hum, so, if you can listen to that. Now, this is nothing but the ultimate Advaita Tattva, which the Jnanis have realized. That is Aham Brahmasmi. And how does it translate to that? So hum is, when you split it, it becomes Saha Aham. Now, Saha means that Parabrahman, that Bhagavan, him, Aham. I am that Parameshwara. So that is the meaning of that mantra. Soham, Saha Aham. I am that Parameshwara. That is nothing but Aham Brahmasmi. So constantly from the time of birth, while breathing, inhaling, exhaling, that subtle sound we are producing. So hum, so hum, so hum. So that is nothing but reminding us of aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi. I am that Brahman. That the Jivatma, Paramatma are one and the same. But we don't realize that till that ajnana lasts, we think that we are different, and we don't realize Brahman or Shivanandam. Once that ajnana goes, that is our natural state actually. That Ananda Swarupa, that is the natural state. That has been attained by Paramahamsas or the great realized souls. So, Hamsavrajaihi Ashrite means that mantra, which is the groups of people who are constantly meditating on that Soham mantra. So that is the meaning of Hamsa Vrajaihi Ashrite. Now, where are these people? They are in that particular palace of Parameshwara's feet. So the mind is being invited to join those groups of Paramahamsas, those groups of yogis who are already in that state of Shivanandam, residing in that palace. So, like I said, this particular verse and every verse, some verses in particular, they have multiple layers of meaning. So that Hamsa mantra, that is Soham mantra, or the Hamsa mantra, which is constantly being repeated, Bhagavat Padacharya is reminding us of that mantra in this particular verse. And he is also telling us that we have to attain that state of Shivanandam by referring to the mind as Manasa Raja Hamsa. And another way of interpreting this would be that Shankaracharya is referring to all minds as Manasa Raja Hamsa. That means everyone has that potential of attaining that state. Like I said, we all are doing this soham, soham, soham while breathing without even realizing it. But especially in this human form, it is very conducive to undertake that sadhana to attain that particular state of Paramahamsa, that particular state of Shivanandam, Brahmanandam. And these works like Shivanandalahari, Soundaralahari, they take us to that path and take us to that ultimate realization. Now, further, coming back to this palace called Girijanathangri Saudha, in that palace, what else do we find? Then he says, having stayed in that palace, O mind, Bhakti Vadhu Ganeshcha Rahasi Nityam Svecha Viharam Kuru. O mind, having stayed in that palace, always Bhakti Vadhu Ganaihi. So there are many maidens in that particular, not forest, sorry, palace. In that particular palace, there are many maidens. Now, who are those maidens? They are Bhakti, maidens in the form of devotion. So the maidens called devotion are residing in that palace. Now, because here the analogy is to a palace, we have many, if you think of a beautiful palace, that is studded with gems, rubies, and emanating brilliance everywhere. And then you have royal swans walking around in that palace. Here, royal swans, I'm referring to the bird itself when you're just thinking of the palace. Then you have beautiful maidens in that particular palace. So now in this particular palace called the feet of Parameshwara, the beautiful maidens are nothing but Bhakti Vadhuhu. That is the maidens of devotion, of Bhakti. So, having stayed in that palace, O Manasa Rajahamsa, Sthitva means having stayed. Nityam Bhakti Vadhu Ganeshcha Rahasi Svecha Viharam Kuru. So, Rahasi means it refers to secrecy. Now, this Rahasyam also has a very important significance. This ultimate attainment of Shivanandam, Brahmanandam, Brahmajnana, that is always Rahasyam, meaning only the person who has attained it is in that constant state of supreme bliss. It is an experience. Words cannot explain it. One should reach there to experience it. So it is Rahasyam. Now, this Brahmajnana, which everyone ought to attain, is Rahasyam. And it is Svecha. It is freely moving around, independent. It is not entangled by any bandhanas or anything, any of these bondages. Once you attain that state, you are completely independent, no chains, no bondage, nothing pulling you, right? So these two are very rahasyam and svecha viharam, are very important, two very important aspects of attaining that particular state. Now, if you see like this concept of Bhagavadanandam being rahasyam, if you look at the Ashtapadis of Jayadeva in Gita Govindam, he has beautifully composed this work called Gita Govindam, which describes the union of, actually, it is a journey of Jivatma Radha towards Paramatma Krishna and the union of Jivatma Paramatma through Sakhi. That is the Sakhi who represents the Guru. And this is a beautiful work of 24 Ashtapadis, that is, each song has 8 stanzas. Therefore, it is called Ashtapadi. And especially today's class, many of the verses we are going to deal with reminded me of those. Jayadeva, in the Ashtapadis, he uses this word rahasyam many times while describing the sports of the Gopikas, Jivatmas with Paramatma Krishna. So he says in one of the Ashtapadi, Shri Jayadeva Bhanitam Idam Udayati Keshava Keli Rahasyam. In another one, he says Adbhutam Keshava Keli Rahasyam. So Keshava Keli Rahasyam, this play of Bhagavan, Keshava, Paramatma, it is Rahasyam. So this Rahasyam, it being secret or known only to that person who is experiencing that Brahmanandam, that's a very important aspect of being in that state of Bhagavadanandam or Shivanandam. And it is also independent. Therefore, these two words are used. Rahasi Svecha Viharam Kuru. So there are multiple layers of meanings in this particular verse. So we will just go through, read the English meaning once. What we are learning here is just, the first layer of meaning, if I can say so, going word by word. But as we do Parayanam, chant and surrender to Parmeshwara and Bhagavat Padacharya, we will be able to realize the multiple layers of meaning in each verse ourselves. O mind, the regal swan, dwell within the palace of Bhagavan Parameshwara's feet, adorned with the rows of toenails, emitting a radiant brilliance like the luminous glow of the rising moon, spreading its nectar-like light everywhere. The palace, cleansed and shining, is enhanced by the beautiful reddish pink hue of ruby gems. It resonates with the sounds of meditation on the Hamsa mantra and is graced by the constant presence of maidens called devotion. Stay in the sacred space and roam freely in privacy, enjoying the bliss of divine connection and surrender. So by telling us Bhakti Vadhu Ganaihi, Shankaracharya is reminding us that Bhakti is of utmost importance, supremely essential to reach that state and to stay in that palace called the feet of Parameshwara. A very beautiful description again. The way the mind is addressed, Manasa Rajahamsa, and then reference to Paramahamsas and that Hamsa mantra, which is constantly repeated by those in that state of Brahmanandam. So let us recite this verse once. आकीर्णेन खराजिकान्तिविभवैः उद्यत्सुधा वैभवैः आधौतेऽपि च पद्मरागललिते हंसव्रजैराश्रिते नित्यं भक्तिवधूगणैश्च रहसि स्वेच्छाविहारं कुरु स्थित्वा मानसराजहंसगिरिजानाथाङ्घ्रिसौधान्तरे. Okay. So now we will conclude with Shanti Mantraha. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः धन्यवादाः सर्वेभ्यः धन्यवादाः अदिति Shriya, thank you for joining us as panelists. So we will meet next Saturday. धन्यवादाः. राम राम राम.